Hello everyone, my name is Abdel Fane, and today I will be talking about securing the digital future of Africa. So, a little bit about myself. I am the head of security affairs at GREL. GREL is an international early cancer detection company. And I am also the chair and co-founder of CSNP. Today I am here to represent CSNP. CSNP is an international nonprofit that provides accessible cybersecurity resources. And what that means is that if you go to our website today, we have a lot of materials, training. Every month we do training. This is all free, accessible, because at the end of the day, we just want to educate the world on cybersecurity. A little bit about my background. So I am a technology expert and a cybersecurity expert. I've been in the field for 15 years. I was born in Mali. I may not look like it or sound like it. I am Malian. I speak Bambara and some French. For my brother here, check. All right, I earned my bachelor's degree in information technology and management. I earned my master's in cybersecurity and forensics. So in my job, I provide strategic security consulting, engineering, robot security solutions, lead cybersecurity teams. More specifically, my experience lies in application security. Application security more has to do with securing your mobile app, right? Everyone, if you have a smartphone, you have an app in there. If you have a computer, you use a browser, you have to secure that. And cloud security, governance and risk compliance, data loss prevention, security solution, including I work for Fortune 10. So I know a lot to mention there. So let's talk about the technological growth and economical potential that Africa has. About 20 years ago, there were only 2% of Africans who had internet access. We fast forward to 2021, this number has increased to 43%. What this tells us is that Africa is growing, its economy is growing, its technology is growing. And along with that, we've also emerged, smart cities are emerging. Places like Kenya have smart cities, including South Africa as well. Now, when we look at cybersecurity, today there are 3.5 million open jobs out there in the world. I have been in cybersecurity quite a while. For the past 4 years, I never went to an office. I always work home, right? Because this is the new future now. Technology jobs is done remotely. I've consulted for companies in Asia, companies in Europe, all in my bedroom, right? So this is what technology has allowed us to access. And now when we look at artificial intelligence, it's actually predicted that Africa's GDP will increase by 1.1 trillion by the year 2030. That's not very far away. And lastly, research has shown that as Africa increases its technological adoption, it's also increasing its GDP. Because this is, okay, sorry, I have to. Yeah, because this is allowing Africa to participate in the world economy, right? So by having this technology, now we have access to things we did not have access to. This includes the internet, right? This includes social media. That information is able to go around without us making much effort to access that information. So we can't really talk about technological growth without really talking about the risk that's associated with technology. Today, every year, the world loses $8 trillion to cybercrime. Africa alone is $4 billion. These are big numbers and very real numbers. African businesses are targeted. They receive about 2,000 cyber attacks on a weekly basis on average. This is higher than the national average. Why is that? The West has greater economy, they have more money. Why are cyber criminals targeting Africa? Well, it's actually because as our technology footprint growth, we need to secure those technology, right? Today, we're not focusing on the security of this technology. We're focused on enabling people, but as we enable people, we need to make sure that we're also securing that. And unfortunately, these bad actors, they realize that our defense is not strong, and they're taking advantage of that. 90% of African businesses do not have the necessary cybersecurity protocols to protect the organization. And we've seen examples of this with Ghana, right? Ghana is one of the most advanced countries out there when we talk about technology. Now, the challenge, Ghana recently also passed cyber criminal laws, including Kenya as well, right? But the challenge here is, having a law and being able to enforce that law technologically are two different things, right? Now, the problem that Ghana is facing is, yes, they have a law, Kenya has a law, you can prosecute criminals, but if the businesses don't understand how they need to protect the organization, what they need to do in order to have enough information for the government to prosecute them, that's not going to happen, right? And that's what we're seeing. Businesses do not have the proper controls in place. Therefore, the law is there, but the government is not able to prosecute. And lastly, 64% of South Africans say that their friends, family have been victim of scams. I'm sure some of you indirectly experienced that. I have. A few months ago, my mom reached out to me and said, hey, our aunt's house burned down and they're looking for money. They need money to, buy a new house. And I thought, well, if their house burned down, shouldn't I call you and talk to you? Right? And it did turn out that was a scam. And we've seen a lot of these examples where people hack other people's accounts. Think about your pastor, your church. They hack them and they say, hey, we need money. And people give money, right? Because people generally are kind people. And unfortunately, hackers, bad actors, they're taking this vulnerability that we have as people. So I'm not going to mention all of the cybercrime, all of the threats that we face as a nation, but I'll touch on a few of them. Ransomware is a big one. Ransomware is indiscriminate. Ransomware is a software that someone creates, they put it out there, whoever has a vulnerability in their environment, they get it, they take your data hostage, and then they ask you for money. This happens quite often in the US. In fact, just last year, the US Keystone Pipeline, which transferred gas from one part of the country to the other part of the country, was hacked. They had a ransomware. They could not do anything. The country was freaking out because everybody thought we're going to run out of gas, right? And that's a problem, right? So ransomware is a big problem, and you need to have the right proper defense to defend against that. I'll skip down some of these. Misinformation and disinformation, we've seen this on the rise, right? We've seen adversaries trying to divide a nation. And most of this is being done through technology. The thing with technology is that it has both good and bad. Whatever bad you can do, you can also do the good, right? Again, but the challenge is having those right expertise to be able to defend against these, to put in the right measures to protect against these. That has been the challenge for most of the world. And the last one I skip down to is the last one here, weak privacy policy. Raise your hand if you have WhatsApp. Okay, that's a good amount of people. Now, did you know that WhatsApp is owned by Facebook? Did you know that Facebook is the largest data miner out there? Every message that you send, every time you use WhatsApp, Facebook is collecting metadata. That metadata, they will sell it to whoever wants it, right? Whoever wants that data, so if you have an adversary, a foreigner could buy your citizens' data, and they can use that to create disinformation, whatever they want, right? That's a problem. And this is because we do not have strong privacy policies. By implementing a strong privacy policy in our nation, we can force companies like Facebook to say, hey, whatever data you have on our citizen, it stays in our country, right? But if we don't have any rules, they will do whatever they want with our data. So moving down, we talked about the threats. We talked about the opportunity that Africa has with its technological growth. This is CSNP's three-tier approach to how do we mitigate some of these risks. The first one being cybersecurity training. Today, organizations are being attacked, whether the government. More recently, the defense minister of Libya receive a phishing attack. Phishing attack meaning they got something that seemed like it may have come from a colleague. They click on it, that's all it takes. One click, they're already in the environment. And they were able to take over 100,000 files of sensitive military data, right? So having cybersecurity training, having people who understand cyber threat, having those right experience to defend your organization is essential. And this is one of the first things that whoever is interested in partnering with us, that we want to provide. And this is not limited to just government. These are businesses, organizations, nonprofit, institutions. And the next one down is cyber awareness. So when we talk about cyber awareness, things like phishing, right? Why did the defense minister of Libya click on that? It's because of cyber awareness. They were not aware. They didn't realize that someone else within their own organization who is not them could send them something like that, right? So by having this awareness, you actually can implement defense against it. And this is just training. This is just telling people and helping them understand what the threat is. And the last one is cybersecurity advisory. So every industry is different. Healthcare, government, healthcare, oil company, these are different industries. That means that they need different techniques to protect them. So I'll kind of fast forward to the 3-tier. So our goal is to increase cybersecurity professionals, right? So that Africa can best protect themselves, so that these threat actors don't easily just access our financial information, right, and steal money from us. So we offer technical training for cybersecurity professionals. We offer training for institutions. So we offer training for really any industry you're in. 93% of participants in our partner curriculum, primarily in the US, they obtain jobs after taking this course. Because these courses are technical, they're hands-on. They're not just theoretical. You actually get to hack computers and understand the mindset of these hackers. And cybersecurity awareness, as I mentioned, right? Training, 98% of cyber attacks involve social engineering, 98%. Over 70% of data breaches, they start with phishing attack and social engineering. So you can mitigate a lot of these just by training, just by sitting in a room and educating someone and helping them understand what this threat means. And of course, I talked about advisory, right? So advisory should be more tailored to your organization. It isn't one size fits all, because each organization functions differently. You have different things that you need to protect. So last slide here, empowering Africa through cybersecurity. To achieve African Union Agenda 2063 vision, we have to act now. We have to start investing in cybersecurity. As we increase our technological footprint, as we increase our technology adoption, we have to think about the risk that's associated with that as well. And this is where the CSNP 3-tier comes in play. It has been strategically developed to help mitigate these threats. And the last thing I do want to mention is, I mentioned earlier, there are 3.5 million cybersecurity jobs in the world open today, right? Cybersecurity jobs, most of them are remote, meaning that anyone can partake in them. You have the right expertise, the right knowledge, you can partake in that. And in the year 2050, less than 30 years, Africa is predicted to have the youngest youth in the world. This means that the whole world is going to be looking at us to provide something. But if we do not have the necessary training, the necessary knowledge, the skills, we're not going to be able to partake in this world economy. So it is essential that we do act now. Thank you for your time. I do want to thank CSNP volunteers. We are a volunteer-based organization. I also want to thank Ellis, who's in the audience, and Dr. Margaret for this great opportunity. Thank you all.